Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told I had a voice of radio. So today, we're going to be taking a little bit of a gander at another one of these really fun new combos that we can make with Lost Thunder. It is Ho-oh and Azumarill. I know, right? We almost never get a chance to talk about Azumarill. Well, today, ladies and gentlemen, today is different. And quite frankly, better. And it all revolves around Azumarill's attack, which is quite frankly, fun. What it does, and it is for one fairy energy, which is quite nice. And what it allows you to do for a single fairy energy is you get to look at the top 8 cards of your deck. That's quite a lot. And then any energy cards you find there can be attached to your Pokemon in any way that you like. And it does specifically say energy cards. It does not say basic energy cards. So anything like Rainbow Energy would be up here. Counter Energy, which I think is pretty gosh darn important. We'll talk about that more in a little bit. So you get to accelerate just a whole bunch of energy. And actually, let's mention counter energy here. Because the great thing is, you essentially sit here with your polka dot search, great name incidentally, accelerating a whole bunch of energy, including counter energy. And then when your Azumarill goes down, which is going to, unfortunately, it's inevitable, well then you've got a whole bunch of counter energy on the field. Which means you get to take advantage of the counter energy, and that's pretty gosh darn good. We'll have a quick chat about counter energy Pokemon at the end if we get a minute. But you need to be getting all the energy around. That's where Ho-oh comes in. Because Ho-oh is a Pokemon with a whole bunch of potential and a whole bunch of awkward. 130 HP, not ideal. Attack for a minimum 3 energy, not ideal. Resistance to fighting, ideal. But the attack does 30 damage, plus 30 more for each type of basic energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you can get, say, 6 different types of basic energy on there, you're doing 210 damage. That's pretty gosh darn sweet. The problem is getting 6 different types of basic energy on there is incredibly difficult, unless you use something like Azumarill. See where we're going with this? And that is the basic combo in a nutshell. You use Azumarill to just accelerate as much energy as you can. And then you use Ho-oh to smash for lots of damage. The thing is, we need to try and build in contingencies here, because the reality is, as fun as this combo is, and as much as you will win basically every game where it fires, and you will, it is not something on which you can rely turn after turn, game after game. When it works, you've probably won. Where it doesn't work, we need something else. And initially, we've got Choice Band, which just does a bit of extra damage, meaning you need a bit less energy onto your Ho-oh. But we've also got Forbidden Shrine here. Forbidden Shrine is Shrine of Punishment. It was called Forbidden Shrine when it came out in Japan. Shrine of Punishment puts 1 damage counter on each Pokemon EX and GX between turns. So while you're sitting there, accelerating energy with Azumarill, your opponent's taking damage with Forbidden Shrine. Shrine of Punishment. That's pretty good. That's nice. And don't forget counter energy. Because there will be turns where you've got, say, 4 different energy on a couple of different Ho-oh. So those Ho-oh are now sitting there hitting 150, and that's 150 before you bring in something like a Choice Band or a Shrine of Punishment. But you've also got some counter energy out here, and now you can be hitting for common weaknesses. So let's take something like the Shaman from Shining Legends. It's a very good Shaman. For a counter energy, as long as you're behind on prizes, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out during your opponent's last turns by an attack from damage, you do 120. Now, 120 is fine. Again, Choice Band and Shrine of Punishment help. But if you're against something like a Lycanroc, for instance, yay! Or a Lapras, for instance, yay! And you don't need to play like a million different Shaman. Just play a couple of Shaman or 1 Shaman, and a few Rescue Stretcher. Maybe you're against a Blacephalon deck. Oh no, that's a little bit awkward. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, because you can play the Keldeo. You can play Keldeo from Shining Legends, which does 20 damage plus 20 more for each of your opponent's benched Pokemon. That's right. And this adds up super quickly. If they've got 3 bench Pokemon, you're naturally doing 80 damage, which doubled up gets to 160 with weakness. Now, either they take Forbidden Shrine damage, 2 turns worth, between turns worth, or you use a Choice Band. Because if they've got 2 bench Pokemon, and bearing in mind they've basically got to have 2 bench Pokemon, then you're in this great position where either your opponent doesn't bench Pokemon, in which case one big KO can win the game, or they've got 2 bench Pokemon and with a Choice Band you're getting a one-hit KO on a Blacephalon. And this is essentially how you cover this. You should get a couple of big Ho-ohs a game. But this is one of those things where I could make a video telling you, hey, Azumarill and Ho-oh, and you're going to go and test a dozen games, and in 1 or 2 of those games, you go nuts with Azumarill, and you just win. And in 10 of those 12 games, you don't, and you lose. So what you do is you go, right, best case scenario, I've got my Azumarill, and I get my Ho-oh. Worst case scenario, I can start smashing with a whole bunch of different good counter energy Pokemon. Victini from the Prism Star from Dragon Majesty, if you play a whole bunch of basic energy, which you should, 20 damage for each basic energy in your discard, and then shuffle them all back into your deck. Or maybe you wait until your Ho-oh has gone down, and then you've got a whole bunch of different types of basic energy in a discard, and then in comes a Alolan Executor to do 120 damage for a single grass energy. Or maybe you start using the Ultra Beast here. Nihilego from Lost Thunder is redonk, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got 2 prizes remaining for 1 psychic energy, you can just copy any attack from any of your opponent's Pokemon. That's ridiculously good. It's literally Zoroark's GX attack, as long as you've got 2 prizes remaining. Don't forget you've always got Buzzwole from Forbidden Light. Your opponent has 4 prizes remaining. You do 120 for 1 fighting energy, and you're hitting weakness on something like a Zoroark. And then you've got something like Xurkitree here. Now that's the one from Forbidden Light. Now this one's a bit more awkward. The big attack is for free energy. But 1 psychic energy, 20 damage plus confusion. I mean, I cannot be the only one that thinks that sounds pretty good. Or maybe we go for the non-GX Pheromosa from Forbidden Light, which does 180 damage if you've got 1 prize card remaining. Again, little bit awkward because of the attack cost. So how about the Celesteela from Celestial Storm? Celesteela from Celestial Storm does 160 for 1 metal energy if both players' remaining prizes are exactly 6. I like Azumarill Ho-oh as a combo, and I think there will be games where you sit there and smash, because you only really need, I would say, free energy would be enough. Because free energy, you're hitting 120 plus Choice Band plus Shrine of Punishment. That's going to add up quite quickly. I mean, 4 of these, you're hitting 180 with a Choice Band. 4 energy, Choice Band, 180, and then stuff like Rayquaza is already going down. Stuff like Buzzwole GX is going down just as long as you've got a Shrine of Punishment on the field, and there's no field blowing it away. They're not going to have chance. Well, they can field blow it away, but not before they're KO'd. But I think you need a backup plan with this particular deck, with this particular combination. Maybe it's the Ultra Beast, because seriously, right, if you're sitting there worried about trying to get energy on your Ho-oh, a great thing to do is single energy attackers. But maybe it's counter energy. Use Azumarill, accept the fact you're going to go a couple prizes down while you're using Azumarill, but then while you're using Azumarill, you can then have counter energy, and as for which counter energy Pokemon to use, it really depends on your metagame. So Cobalion from Lost Thunder is really good as a metal Pokemon, so that is something to bear in mind if you're against a bunch of fairy decks. But if you're against a bunch of Blacephalon, then Keldeo is the one to go for. Lycanroc, Shaman is the one to go for. Buzzwole, might I suggest the Mimikyu from Guardians Rising, the one that's got Copycat. There is a lot to like about this combo. I really think it has a lot of potential, and I think on the games it hits, you're going to win. I think you're not going to hit every game, but I think given that you're playing a whole bunch of basic energy, then counter energy and single energy attackers are going to potentially lead you to success. I think this deck can win. But I don't know what you think, so let me know in the comment section, ladies and gentlemen. Go nuts, but please do remember the rule. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all of that, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, where you can do exactly that. And do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays for some more Wassy action. But by far the most important thing, as always, is to look after yourselves until next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.